We learned yesterday in testimony at the Finance Committee that there's a lot more money that's been put on the table than we'd previously learned. And we had been led to believe that the total benefit received by members of the Trudeau family from the We organization was just over $212,000. Well, yesterday we learned there was an additional $353,000 that the Trudeau family received from the We organization. It's extremely concerning that we have daily new revelations in this scandal, and we've gone from hearing from both the We organization and the Prime Minister's office that there weren't speaking fees paid, to hundreds of thousands of dollars in speaking fees paid, to hundreds of thousands of dollars in expenses being paid. We're now looking at over $500,000 in benefits to members of Justin Trudeau's family from this organization. And within weeks of one of these trips, the government engages the We organization to deliver a program worth $500 million. $500,000 to the Trudeaus and $500 million back to the We organization. And as I said, this situation changes every day, and this will not be the first letter that we've had to send to the ethics commissioner, who has initiated an investigation into Justin Trudeau, twice already found guilty of breaking ethics laws since becoming prime minister, and now under investigation a third time with new revelations coming forward daily. So that letter will be to the ethics commissioner today. But there are developments that happen hourly coming from the ethics committee just now. The Liberal members of that committee engaged in a further attempt to cover up what's happening. The official opposition had put forward a proposal to have members of cabinet simply disclose if they were aware of the Prime Minister's conflict, and for them to disclose if they have any family members that would involved with this organization that would have put them in a conflict during the cabinet decision. And while the cover-up continues, Canada's Conservatives, Her Majesty's Loyal Opposition, will continue to ask tough questions. We will demand answers, and that's what we're going to get for Canadians. I'll turn it over to Mr. Poilievre.
Thank you very much. We knew already that the Trudeau family had received about $353,000 from the We organization. But yesterday, we learned that there were $212,000 more that the organization paid in reimbursement of expenses for members of the Trudeau family. In total, the organization, the We organization, provided more than $500,000 to the Trudeau family. That is more than $500,000 in payment from an organization to one family. So We Charity provided more than $500,000 to the Trudeau family, and the Trudeau government provided a contribution of more than nearly $500 million. The Conservatives had already sent a complaint to the ethics commissioner asking for an investigation into Justin Trudeau's actions, his conflict of interest regarding these payments that his family received, and the contribution that his government made. But with the new revelations, the Conservatives will file another complaint with the commissioner. What we want to know is whether these expenses, which we were reimbursed of $212,000, were illegal payments. If these expenditures would have created a more significant conflict of interest for the Prime Minister, who stepped in to provide this contribution to the organization, according to Section 11 of the Conflict of Interest Act. It is not allowed for any public office holder or any member of his or her family to accept any gift that might be seen to have been given to influence the public office holder. So, for example, we know that Mr. Trudeau's wife went to an event in London in March with We Charity. 1 month later, the Prime Minister stepped in to help out this same organization in receiving a contribution for a program, and that contribution was over $500 million. The Ethics Commissioner must conduct an investigation in order to find out whether these reimbursed expenses go against the Conflict of Interest Act. Once again, We Charity paid over 500. I'll start again. We Charity paid or gave advantages of a value of over $500 million to the Trudeau family, and the Trudeau government provided a contract of more than $500 million. This is a conflict of interest and yet another scandal related to Justin Trudeau's ethics with the Liberal government.
We knew for some time, I should say, I should begin in English, that the Trudeau family received $350,000 of speaking fees. But what we learned yesterday is that in addition to those fees, the We Charity paid over $200,000 of travel-related expenses for the Trudeau family. These two amounts total $566,000 in total fees and expenses for the Trudeau family. That's to say, $500,000 from the We Charity to the Trudeau family, and of course, there was a contract or a contribution of $500 million from the Trudeau government to the We Charity. Isn't it funny how that works, that the money travels this way first and that way second? These transactions equal a massive conflict of interest. In particular, we have already filed a complaint with the Ethics Commissioner asking for an investigation into whether the speaking fees put the Prime Minister in a conflict of interest or whether they were legal to receive in the first place. And now we are asking for another Ethics Commissioner investigation to ascertain if these expenses of $212,000 that the We Charity paid on behalf of or to the Trudeau family created another breach of the Conflict of Interest Act. Section 11 of that Act makes it clear that no public office holder, including the Prime Minister, or a member of their family may accept a gift that could reasonably be interpreted to have been done in order to influence a decision by that public office holder. I would note that Mr. Trudeau's spouse attended a We Charity event in London in March of this year, only 1 month before the Prime Minister would personally intervene to extend this $500 million contribution to that same organization. So again, we have $500,000 from We to the Trudeau family, and we have a $500 million contribution from the Trudeau government to the We Charity. This, in our view, represents a conflict of interest, and we want further investigation to get to the bottom of what laws may or may not have been broken in all of these transactions. Thank you very much.